change. Aitken coming in for Weir from the side which played and beat Wales by 1-0. 5 of their line-up. For them, it's a new experience. And England fielding the strongest side available to them with 4 players in midfield. Antonio Garrido, I spoke to him before the match and asked him whether he found this game different. He said it's a bit quick. It's the second time that he's done it. He officiated at Wembley 12 months ago, and in fact he'll be officiating in the European Cup final next Wednesday. Comes from Portugal. And stand by, I'm sure, for a pretty whirlwind start from the Scots. Diving in immediately is Joe Jordan. And the first free kick given against Cherry. If the crowd needed anything to get it going, it's already found it. Scots have pushed 4 players into the 18-yard area. Jordan, Dalglish, McLeish and Hegarty. Here's Strachan. Cherry's clearance. Up comes Miller. Phil Thompson. Cherry. Fine ball to Johnson from McDermott. Here's Brooking. Hegarty to Danny McGrain. With 2 Celtic players in the side. Aitken. That's much too long, and we'll give Clemence a touch that he will be pleased about. Wilkins. Mariner. Johnson. Mariner again. Miller across. Miller paired with Hegarty. It's the 8th different pairing that Jock Stein has used in the centre of his defence. This afternoon is Scotland's 15th match under his control. Brooking, Coppell stealing in. Coppell, who scored the only goal in this fixture 2 years ago. Here's McDermott. Not very well away by Hegarty. Cherry. Coppell. Mariner coming across. Miller away. Scots really not clearing their lines well. The shot from Wilkins. And the check now on the substitutes. Any 2 from 5 can be used. And among the Scotland substitutes are 2 £1 million players, Archibald and Andy Gray. Really expected to come on if things go well for Scotland. Here's McLeish. Maybe in fact if they don't go so well for Scotland too. Here's Danny McGrain. Miller. Pace of the game, not quite the 90 miles an hour that one becomes used to in this match. Oh, it's a blatant foul by Miller as Mariner tried to show his pace. A hopeful sign there for England because he clearly got away from him. For Mariner, pretty nippy. David Watson has come up on the far side and aimed for him. Oh, that's not a good header by Jordan. He was lucky that fell to a colleague. Really a schoolboy error, heading right back across the face of his own goal. McDermott. Front line of 3 for England. Johnson on the right, Coppell in the middle, Mariner far side coming in. Nodded back for Brooking, and Brooking, only the 2nd goal of his England career. Brooking puts England in front in the 8th minute, really before Alan Ruff has had any feel of the ball at all. But the secret of that was the way that Mariner got away on the far side. A long diagonal cross, nobody picked up Mariner, but he made quite a long distance, came down to Brooking, who kept it down and past Ruff's legs. Really was a long cross. Well, the Scots thought Mariner was offside, but the goalkeeper was going the wrong way. Alan Ruff caught going with his legs rather than with his hands. Johnson. It's a bit too long and rough coming for it. And they've suddenly gone a bit quiet on the terraces. The impressive thing about this opening really is the fact that England have dictated the pace of the game. Watson. McLeish. Strachan. Space on the left side, and now Munro filling it, somewhat belatedly. Jordan got up, and it came off Kenny Sansom. But the referee has given an infringement the other way. Strachan looking for somebody coming left side, and found Munro. But Jordan fouled his man, jumped on his back. A good piece of play by Strachan, who I think would have appreciated an earlier move by Munro. Brooking. So far getting the better of Aitken. Scottish midfield not operating as a quartet at all. Mariner, it's a fair turn. Hegarty. 15 minutes gone, and England leading by the goal scored by Trevor Brooking after 8 minutes. Thompson. Cherry. Johnson. Putting quite a handful for Willie Miller at this stage. Coppell. Vastly different from England's side from the one we saw either against Wales or against Northern Ireland. McGrain for Scotland. Strachan, who at the moment carries just about all their hopes. Distance on the throw. Wilkins he found. Now cut out by Gemmill. Yes, they've got a 2-1 advantage. Cherry having to come across to Dalglish. Jordan is in the middle. Well picked up. And Kenny Dalglish kept the foot up against his club colleague. But Dalglish actually pushed it. He lost control there with his left foot. And as he came through, he lost it, pushed it too far again. Beautifully picked up, but the foot was there trying to get it, and it caught Ray Clemence. Really not a very good piece of play by Kenny Dalglish. Not the sort of control one expects from him. And they had a 2-1 advantage, but look at the beauty of the pickup. Spectacular landing. Two up for England. McLeish. McGrain. 21 years old from Aberdeen. Notice there the crowd getting on to him to make some use of the ball. Chase for Mariner, Miller across. Took the pace off it nicely to give the fullback a chance. The player in the fullback position was in fact Hegarty. Hegarty of Dundee United, Miller of Aberdeen, in fact the skipper of that club. McLeish. McGrain. Watson across. Marked contrast in physique, but Gemmill has won the corner. Watson lost it as he stretched for it. He's making the early run. Marked by 2. Aitken couldn't get there, and is the referee going to give a penalty? It was a very, very wild challenge by Mariner. And Aitken Aitken gets to his feet, not too happy. But really a forwards challenge in his own area. Look at that. England all lucky to escape. Here's Gemmill. Hegarty, Dalglish and Cherry. And Wilkins up in the air, and the first signs of Scottish pressure having any effect on England. The tackle's getting a bit sharper too. And here's McDermott, Johnson to the right. Mariner in the inside left position. Oh, Johnson's got a gap for his left. Just didn't run for him, but there was a definite gap to the left. He cut inside, McDermott making the outside run, taking a man with him, just created the space for a moment. Jordan. And he's round Phil Thompson and well. Gemmill near post. And it was Dalglish's shot. Good piece of play by Joe Jordan, who really has had a marvellous second half to the season. Got past Thompson on the byline, pulled it back, which was the right ball, and Dalglish spooning it up and over. Kenny Dalglish, record caps and record goal scorer, not having a very happy start to this match. Jumping on and holding down by Phil Thompson. Strachan. Ian Munro. Archie Gemmill. McLeish with a bit of space. Back by one for England. And Brooking coming out of defence. It's a bit wild by Aitken. Mariner who caught the effect of it. Dermott making the run left to right. Wilkins, who can switch it if he wants to, doesn't. Coppell. Brooking moving into the box. England's run's far better than on Tuesday night. Much more considered. McDermott. McGrain. Half an hour gone. England still leading by the only goal scored by Trevor Brooking after 8 minutes. Johnson. Mariner. Coppell. One might well have been labelled, certainly would have caused Ruff to move a bit sharply. And returning to find Coppell wide, and the ball coming off Munro for the corner. Looking again. Cherry again in the 6-yard box. And Cherry didn't, and it was off the line by Munro. The wrong way by Jordan. Mariner doing the battling. McGrain with the clearance. A double header by England then was saved on the line by Munro. Brooking, oh, look at dummy. But McDermott not able to keep it in, according to the linesman. Thompson. Wilkins. Sansom. Mariner really battling for the chance to go to Italy. He's already on the plane to go to Australia. Ron Greenwood has said that one or two might come off that party, or at least after that party, and join the England party in Italy. Miller. McGrain. Gemmill further forward on this attack, just behind the front two. So taken by McGrain. Strachan. And Aitken trying to get in. It was Coppell who had done a typical piece of Coppell work, marking his man on the run back. And he did well, but it was a useful cross. And Coppell knocked it away from Aitken and over the top. Aitken taking a positive position, well marked. McLeish's header, Coppell. Is Miller, Phil Thompson out to him. That's the goalkeepers. Coppell, all the time getting his body in the way of the player trying to get to it. Here's Mariner. On the far side is Wilkins. Oh, beautifully nutmegged his man, and a good save. It must have been a pretty tight angle for Ray Wilkins. Played it through the legs of Danny McGrain, and then was prepared to have a try from the near angle. He covered his near post well, did Rough. Brooking again with the corner. Cherry once more in the 6-yard box. And Rough was fouled by Cherry. Munro and Miller making life a bit difficult for themselves. It's McGrain. Strachan. Aitken has taken up a position now on the left side, partly, I'm sure, to mark the runs of Coppell, also to find a bit of space for himself when going forward. There's Brooking. Sansom. Brooking and McLeish. It was played early, and there was lack of liaison in the Scottish defence. Causing them some trouble. Greater inexperience in the Scottish side. Rough getting to it. There's Brooking, didn't stay down for him. And Rough not very happy with his geography. And his handling, for that matter. Dalglish. We've seen precious little so far, except an error. Brooking is coming back. Really is fascinating the way that Gemmill is very much the biter bit this afternoon. Oh dear. Doesn't belong in the football manual. There's Brooking. Coppell going to the right. Aitken unsure whether to go for Brooking or for Coppell. Back covering behind Munro. Wilkins, a great shout from the crowd as the ball's given away. Crowd are not too happy with their team's performance. That's an up and under on the wrong side of the bar. 5 minutes left of the first half. McGrain. Just a fine comeback. McGrain, his ankle injury cost him the trip to Argentina. Now here's Dalglish. Gemmill's in the middle. Jordan's in the middle. And it wasn't a particularly good cross as Thompson got in the way. Plenty of Scots coming forward. Aitken is already there. Hegarty arriving. And Brooking away, but only to McGrain. Johnson back in defence. Bit of pressure here from the Scots. Still 3 forward. The diagonal crosses, the sort of crosses that England were putting in against Northern Ireland. McGrain. And Brooking. I wonder if Brian Clough is watching this. He certainly can't deny his industry, his covering in defence. Here's Dalglish. That's the first time he's got away. And setting up the chance for himself. And it's the best we've seen from Kenny Dalglish, but Clemence not to be pulled away from that near post, and maybe Dalglish should have pulled it back to the man. Gemmill's corner. Brooking once more. That's the goalkeepers. And the free kick will be given with the challenge by Aitken. In the last minute of the first half. And during Jock Stein's reign as manager of Scotland, they've had 5 victories. And everyone has been followed by a defeat. And his team is a goal down as we approach half-time. Mariner. Certainly shown plenty of movement, Paul Mariner. Strachan, Wilkins, Miller. Gemmill. This could be promising for the Scots. Dalglish. Trying to pick somebody out. It's Jordan! And he waited then to Dalglish. And then saw the run early by Gemmill. Look for the late one on the top of your picture from Jordan. Here he comes. And that indeed the last action of the first half. Jock Stein just disappearing into the tunnel. Substitutes following, and finally those who must be somewhat warmer after their activities in the first half. Trevor Brooking's goal, his only other goal was against Italy in the World Cup. His goal dividing the teams at half-time. The second half. Just in case you've just joined us, England leading by a goal to nothing, scored by Trevor Brooking in the 8th minute. Thompson getting in with the foot, and a dangerous play, says Mr. Garrido. Aitken up on the far side, so is Jordan. Jordan and Watson together. In the corner. Wilkins on the near post as we look. Far post from the kicker. Here's Strachan. Got away from one, but not from the other. Second player being Steve Coppell. Dalglish in the 6-yard box. McLeish on the near post. Hegarty coming. Sansom's header. Strachan again. He didn't fool Brooking. Here's Munro. Rather too hurried. Same two down the middle. Johnson and Hegarty together. Of course, Brooking saw that quickly. Challenged by McGrain. Gemmill. Coppell coming in on him quickly. Runs for Munro. Aitken outside him. Gemmill down the middle. So is Dalglish here, number 7. That's a fine back header to Jordan, but his first touch took it quite the wrong way. Coppell away. And determinedly going through. Here's Johnson. Mariner far side. Wilkins coming to the middle if it's pulled back. And Johnson has done it all well. Mariner came off the outside of the square post. And they were cursing their luck a bit then, England. It was a good break. And Johnson did it well here. And look at Mariner off the outside of the post. Jordan. Dalglish. Jordan. McGrain outside him. Gemmill coming short. There's a bit more movement in the Scots at the start of the second half. In the corner. Same positions as before. McLeish coming off the near post. Mariner puts it out. Back to Gemmill. Crowd encouraging the Scots to just pump it into the middle when they were trying to take their time to create an opening. Hegarty has got at the back, but he pushed Thompson. Paul Hegarty played against England at Wembley last year. An unhappy debut against Wales when John Toshak scored 3. And an England player down. Hughes moving up and down the line, but the roar from the crowd is the fact that Andy Gray is on his feet. And it's going to be Aitken who will come off. Andy Gray, who's never appeared in this fixture before. Meantime, Trevor Cherry has recovered from the knock that he'd received. And England in no need of making their substitution. As Clemence prepares to clear the ball, Scotland lining up with Gray and Jordan forward and Dalglish slightly behind. Cherry's problem is a cut around the eye. Gray. Dalglish. He's playing in the middle. Not the best challenge that Ray Wilkins has made in this match by any stretch of the imagination. Here's Gemmill. Danny McGrain. Strachan making a run left to right. Here is on the wide side of the defence. And taking on Sansom, stretched by Thompson. Dalglish let it run, and it didn't run too kindly. Sure, he made the right decision initially because the ball running gave him a gap. And Strachan made a good run out to the right and beat Sansom. Clemence having to come, and he got the fist. Dalglish. Flicked by Jordan. Again, it was Dalglish who caused the problems. And the little man from Liverpool beginning to make his presence felt. McLeish. Thompson. Watson. Brooking with Coppell to the right, and so is McDermott. McDermott in the inside right position. Wasn't a good ball collected by Munro. McGrain doing the covering job across the back. Dalglish. Gemmill with Strachan outside. Jordan far post. It's the best spell the Scots have had this. Strachan showing oodles of confidence. He's in fact older than the player he's taking on. Half an hour to go. England still leading by Brooking's goal. The Scottish crowd are being given more encouragement. Clemence didn't make it. Only half did, to be fair to him. Gray appealing for something. Here's Dalglish, who's demanding more of the ball. Cherry away. Strachan. Well, he just closed the road in front of him, and he gets the free kick. George Burley preparing to come on for the obviously injured Ian Munro. So Scotland have made their 2 substitutions. Danny McGrain has gone to left back, with Burley now playing at right. And immediately getting into the action. Came off Cherry, Jordan. And Jordan turns, looking heavenwards with utter despair. Strachan, not a particularly good clearance. Dalglish making the run. Finding more space coming from deeper positions, and that's awkward and was very, very well claimed by Ray Clemence. As Gray came from his right. But Dalglish, finding much more space, came off the fullback, and the goalkeeper had to stretch and took it away from Gray's feet. Fair amount of shoulder-to-shoulder stuff there. And England, I think, will finally make their substitution. And then Hughes comes on, and it's Paul Mariner who's coming off. Well, there was a possible muscular problem. He's done a fair job as Paul Mariner. So England putting a defender on for a forward. Strachan taking on Sansom. It's a good contest. They've had 2 or 3 in this half. And the free kick has been given to Scotland. Strachan will take. McLeish prepared to make the early run. Oh dear, that came off Brooking and then Cherry. So far Hughes has taken a position in the back 4 and made it a back 5 at this stage. Strachan once more. Gray. Just got a lone figure of Johnson forward now, England. Watson, somewhat across the face. Strachan. Great appeals for a penalty, and the referee is unimpressed by them. More appeals from the crowd than from the players. Thompson away. And here's Johnson coming back to help the defence, which is a little beleaguered at the moment. And then Hughes getting the bird a bit from the crowd. He's an old enemy in all senses, playing for the 8th time against Scotland. In fact, Hughes is now playing in midfield. Coppell inclined to go more forward alongside Johnson. Sansom being invited to be a bit quicker by the Portuguese referee. Hughes. Johnson. too much pace, I think, for Brooking. McGrain. Coppell just cutting down his area of movement. Wilkins. McDermott with a bit of space, as indeed has Coppell. Players for sure must be feeling the heat. Here's Brooking. Johnson is at the back of the 6-yard box. Further forward than that. Sansom. Brooking getting back onside on the far side. Dalglish. Hughes. Twice. Dalglish quite unperturbed by those challenges. Thompson getting himself nicely placed between the two big fellows forward. Here's Jordan. Gray is down the middle. Here's McGrain. Room for Miller. Johnson coming goal side, makes a good challenge. Oh, the referee's given a free kick. Well, I must say, I think that was a bit harsh on David Johnson. Almost central, the kick. Clemence so far with a 4-man wall. Thompson having to stretch. Coppell. Johnson and Burley. Handball by Johnson. Well, no whistle has gone. Brooking, if he can pull it back. Two other England players there. Here's Brooking. McDermott to the right. Coppell to the left. Coppell again after the goalkeeper lost it. And another disaster for Scotland. Alan Ruff, with obvious annoyance, gets to his feet, and as last year, Steve Coppell making him pay, although last year he felt he was fouled. That was, I would have thought, just a touch of the forearms from Johnson, but it was close, and the linesman had a good enough view. And Johnson going in, found Brooking. There were two England players to the right, came the other way for Coppell. The goalkeeper lost it, and Coppell made him pay for it. And Steve Coppell, as 2 years ago, gets on the score sheet for England at Hampden. And with 15 minutes to go, makes life very difficult for Scotland, to put it mildly. But there's Gray. Gray again. McGrain. McLeish. Strachan. Certainly looks a player for the future, is Gordon Strachan. Burley. McLeish. Hampden Park has gone very, very quiet. But there aren't many flags now. And one or two of them feel that it's all over. But there are a lot of warm, weary, despondent Scots. McDermott. Johnson is not offside because Miller had stayed back. He can steam in on his own, or he's got Coppell. Still got the chance. And still from the corner. Yes, it didn't quite work. Gaps on the terraces. We play out the last minute of the 1980 Home International Championship. Here's Coppell and McLeish for Scotland. Burley. Dalglish. Hughes. Just a question now what Mr. Garrido has docked off for injuries. A little peep from the whistle, and Jock Stein goes off a disappointed man. And indeed, a certain amount of booing from around Hampden Park. England with the victory by 2 goals to nothing. Trevor Brooking, the first goal in the 8th minute. And the second goal coming from Steve Coppell in the 76th, scoring for the second consecutive match between these two countries on this ground. Just the spell that Scotland had in the second half, but they were looking like England for a good display. England found their confidence again and have a victory under their belts before going to Italy. Scotland go off on tour to play in Poland and Hungary with disappointing results and by and large a disappointing display here this afternoon. Final scoreline, a 2-0 victory for England, which gives them their 3rd consecutive victory against Scotland.
Jock, it's a defeat, but I don't think it's total dejection, is it?
Not really. No. I think we're a wee bit down, especially playing against England here, and the kind of day it is. Our game needs a wee lift, and a lift today against England would be an ideal.
I think, though, that there are signs that there is something coming together there. You, after all, had a side which had many youngsters in it, really, against an England side packed with vast experience.
Well, that's true. I think that we played against possibly the strongest English side without the 2 continental players. They paid us that compliment today, that they put out the strongest side. They were determined to win here, and they needed to go off to the continent after Europe rather, after the 2 disappointing results in the earlier rounds of the British Championships. They played well, they played compact, and they played in the break all the time. I think that playing that way against the Italians were a wee bit different, who are sitting back waiting and then making mistakes. Obviously a crowd like this here, and our attitude to the game that we've got to go forward, played into the English hands. We can't afford to sit back and let England dominate the game at the back, and this suited England ideally.
A word about Scotland, Ron. They did have a nice spell after half-time, as you mentioned. I particularly thought Gordon Strachan looked to be a very promising young man.
Yes, he didn't have a very good game in comparison to what he had on Wednesday night against the Welsh. But he did play well. He was a little on his own. What we wanted to do today was to expose their back 4 and midfield a little inexperienced, in as much of playing balls early and playing a 3rd man, having the 3rd man running all the time. And we caught them out. We were always turning them round, and rather than playing the ball up and holding, and they found it very difficult to cope with us in the first half. And I thought we had some wonderful breaks in the first half, and we didn't take full advantage of them. But I felt we should have scored more goals in the first half, just as I said earlier about Belgium doing that when they played here against them in the European Cup competition. But this is something we have to learn, and it's something they've got to learn how to counteract it. But I would feel that Jock's on his way. The youngsters did well, and luckily enough, they found us today with our tails up.
The lads are very disappointed today. But I think if we had taken our opportunities after England had scored and got back into the game, I think it could have been an entirely different game. There was a few of us had those opportunities, but we didn't really take them. And I think that would have given the lads a lot more confidence. And I think that was the difference. I think England, they got the goal early on, and they looked to me a lot more composed on the ball than we were.
Ray, I think the first thing I'd like to ask is the reaction in that England dressing room after you've come off and you've just beaten Scotland 2-0.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, really, Bob, because we haven't played well in the first 2 games, and a lot of people were saying we didn't really stand much chance today in front of these 80,000 Scots. But I think we've gone out there today and proved what a good side we are, and we've beaten the Scots, and I think we've beaten them deservedly as well.
Where do you think the game was really won and lost?
Well, I think the first 20 minutes we thought was going to be a very hard period for us, but we knuckled down in the first 20 minutes and played some good stuff, and I think the Scots weren't too happy with the way we were playing, and we got on top of them and scored an early goal, and we settled down quite quickly, I thought. The second half, it was a bit difficult for us. They put us under a lot of pressure, but I think we held out and deserved to beat them.
Are you really satisfied that Scotland are on the right lines and that there is some real hope?
When you've been in the game as long as Jock has, you become a diplomat as well, don't you? But the fact is that I've stood all along this week and said that Jock was different from the other three national managers, that he had to look ahead, and it was a transitional period for Scotland, and he's got to get a team ready for a World Cup. Now, I did say it was 2 years' time, but of course the first game is in September, I believe. So he's got to get the chins lifted a bit before then. But I was concerned today for him that there looked too many youngsters there. I thought England were better than 2-0 actually today. And the blend, you see, was 8 Scottish-based lads and 3 Anglos. And Jock, of course, did point out to me, I said, you know, I think possibly some of those older players would have done you better today and will still be involved for the World Cup. But of course, he did point out that he's got lads like Hansen not available through injury. And then there's the Notts Forest lads, isn't there? There's Gray and Robertson.
Yes. And
of course, Souness, who was there at the beginning, but he had to go home injured. So I think if he'd had maybe some of them in, and Lou's got his own ideas who he would have put in, it doesn't look as black as really it was today. And the one plus thing for him, I think, is that of all the clubs, all the teams this week rather, he's brought through a laddie who no one had heard of in England last Friday, and Gordon Strachan, and all of a sudden he's accepted as being a good player.
That's a plus for him.
I think so.
Now, Lou, do you think you can put together, from some of the names that Laurie said and some that you've got at the back of your mind, a Scottish team that really could challenge for the World Cup and go some way?
Well, the unfortunate thing, Jim, about a bad result in Scotland is as soon as you get one, the fans want everyone out, players, the manager as well. They've got the best manager, that is without question. You know, as soon as the game was finished, people started to doubt him. He is the best manager. As Laurie said, they were unfortunate missing the Notts Forest players. And John Robertson alone could have caused problems that weren't there today. There is other players, and I'm quite sure Jock will bring them in. Different things robbed them of different players today.
I mean, you're thinking particularly of Martin Bakken, who you feel will be a World Cup player in 2 years' time.
Well, I think so, yeah. He's a fit player and he looks after himself. I don't see why he shouldn't be there in 2 years.
Frank Gray, Robertson, you've talked about, Byrne, Bakken. It makes it look different, doesn't it?
Well, we mentioned everyone.
Yeah, but I think that the significant point was that it's at the back where Jock had this blend of 2 senior full-backs and 2 young centre-halves together. And I think generally it was felt that if you compared them with the England back 4, there was no comparison on the day. And it really showed up when the pressure was on in the second half. That the England back 4 showed how they could take pressure, whereas the Scottish back 4 in the first half had been pulled around a lot.
I'm not being pessimistic, but you know, I feel that there isn't as much talent in Scotland, and Jock has a more difficult job than the fans really realise at the moment. There isn't as much new talent coming through. Do you really say that, or you were saying there is and they can do well?
Well, I think everyone forgets it's only a small nation, and the fans especially, they think you should be going to the World Cup every 4 years. And it's a bit more difficult than that. Especially for a small country like Scotland.
Well, it'll help if the fans realise that, and I'm sure they will, having listened to you tonight. Well, let's finish the 1980 Home International Championship by congratulating Northern Ireland on their tremendous achievement, particularly in this, their centenary year. They won the title by 2 clear points from England, whose win today took them into second place. Scotland finished bottom, below Wales, on goal difference.